Get ready to uncover truths and reality of today's politics. Here's your host, Lori Mills.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Uncover California. You're going to get really sick of me talking about local stuff, but sorry, can't help it. The NGOs just aren't stopping. I can tell you, we went to the Board of Supervisors meeting, and these NGOs and DocuFund, La Defensa, Indivisible are demanding millions of dollars of your taxpayer money to break federal law. Here's a clip.
The 805 Immigrant Rapid Response Network is a tri-county coalition and network that has been on the ground responding to suspected immigration enforcement action. It is not a new network. We started during the first Trump administration, and now during the second Trump administration, we've been doing trainings throughout the Central Coast. We have also been mobilizing our community, as you can see by the response today. Something that we take great pride is in taking this opportunity. Out of crisis comes opportunity to engage everyone in civic engagement and in different ways that they can turn their anger into something positive that can benefit their community. And this is what the typical rapid response process looks like. We have a hotline that we have been promoting throughout the Central Coast. It operates 24 hours, 7 days a week. And if community members witness suspected immigration enforcement actions, they call our hotline, send pictures, videos, any information they may have. And our dispatchers, which are volunteers, community members from the Tri-County region, will send out to our responders on the ground, and then our responders on the ground will go and verify and see what is happening. This is how a lot of the stories that we have been collecting on the ground, we have put on social media. It has brought to light the unlawfulness of immigration custom enforcement here in our region. Currently, we have a temporary restraining order that is being carried by the ACLU, and a lot of that was able to be put front because of the stories that we've been collecting, the evidence that we've been collecting about the unlawful detentions of many of our community members. So once something is verified to be ICE activity or Customs, Border Protection, CBP, or Border Patrol, we send out an alert to our community members. We have over 30,000 phone numbers in our database, and this information is important because of some data that I'm going to be sharing with you. We are not alerting people that may be violent criminal offenders. You will see the very big difference of who is being detained from our communities.
What do you think about that? Now, the sad part about this is these people continue to lie, or they're just completely misinformed about truth. The thing that really blew me away were how many Democrat elected officials were at this meeting basically encouraging their network of NGOs to break federal law. Does that make these elected officials accountable as well? That would be my question. While digging into all of this, I stumbled across something pretty interesting. Something that we notice at these meetings is there are hundreds of people. Sometimes 100, sometimes 150, but the left always has a really huge group of people, and a lot of them are young. So while working on a report for the U.S. Attorney exposing the federal law breaking, I stumbled across something very interesting. If you go to the website DoxXing, what you're going to find is a link for internships. If you click on that link, it brings you to Oxnard College. If you start clicking through this fellowship program, what you're going to find are these kids have to do 10 hours a week protest, showing up at city council meetings, showing up at board of supervisors meetings. And the sad part about this, these kids don't know better. Are these handlers going to let these kids go to federal prison for 5 to 20 years? What do you think? It's very concerning. There's a young man that was doxing ICE online on X. He was posting their locations. He was posting their movements. This kid has been indicted. He's facing 5 years in federal prison and a $250,000 fine. In the meantime, groups like Churla and Indivisible and these handlers that are actually paid by these NGOs are letting these kids do their dirty work. There was another protest speech by La Defensa that I just caught. And this guy, let me tell you about him, got up there and he talked about how they're not backing down. Well, I'm going to play his speech for you right now. And as I play his speech, watch the screen because I'm going to bring up every federal law that he is telling people and is admitting to breaking. To top it off, he talks about how one woman was arrested for using a leaf blower. Pay attention to that because we all know they use leaf blowers because when they're battling with the federal law enforcement, they use leaf blowers to blow tear gas to blow it back into law enforcement's face. And understand this. Tear gas isn't used unless the crowd is violent. Another thing he stated is that there was never a guy with a gun there. We're going to debunk that too.
Family members in that crowd yesterday that were just desperately trying to get a word of their friends and family inside that facility with no answers and just met with violence nonstop. I heard that they were saying that somebody was out there with a gun. I'm calling bullshit. If anybody was out there with a gun, they would have obliterated us in a heartbeat, and that would have been their excuse that somebody had a gun. So I know that nobody out there had a gun. At the end of the day, like I said, we are not the violent ones. As DC Defensa, Ventura County's been relatively quiet for the last 2.5 weeks because our amazing volunteers have been following every single ICE car that comes out of that facility. We have been jamming them up. We have been following them nonstop throughout the county, and every single time those cowards do one of two things. They run to the local police departments and have them place security guards for them, or they go run and hide on base where they know we can't follow them. Right. Our incredible volunteers have been nonstop since 5 in the morning every day across this fucking county, patrolling and surveying our spots and jamming up every ICE officer that we find. We've gotten so incredibly good at finding them, we have forced them to switch up their strategies multiple times over the last few months. We don't even have to wait on hotline calls to report where they're at. We're finding them in the wild. We have, also, they're not smart drivers. They drive into dead ends and cul-de-sacs on a regular basis. Consistently, they're idiots. Horrible driving. We have watched these ICE agents morally and emotionally break. We have buckled them. When they have seen Beachy come across the corner in her SUV and lock eyes with them, we have seen their shoulders drop. And we have seen them sadly drive back to their facility and clock out for the day. When they heard Lexi come around the corner yelling and screaming and on their ass on a consistent basis, they freak out and they lose control. And again, they drive into dead ends and cul-de-sacs on a regular basis. We have jammed them up consistently for the last few months. We have an incredible team that's never going to stop. And even though yesterday we ate pepper spray, we ate tear gas, we got hit with rubber bullets, they took it out on us. 2 of our volunteers got snatched up yesterday. We're still missing John. We still have no idea where John's at right now. We have been looking tirelessly for John Cavarello. He's a professor at Channel Islands. That's the other part. Our base of volunteers is an incredible group of people that are medical professionals, they're legal professionals, they're professors, they're mothers, they're fathers, there's parents, there's students, there's people from all walks of life. There's old people that are patrolling on a regular basis in their little Honda Fits chasing after these ICE agents. They took it out on us. Yesterday, they threatened one of the volunteers that they arrested. They threatened her with federal charges against an officer. Can you show us the violent weapon that she had yesterday that made them threaten her? This was the violent weapon that they accused her of threatening officers with. They locked her up, they beat her up, they put a boot on her back. Wow. But she's still here, and she got released, and she's riding on her yet. That's fucking Lex and Vici. And Christian. Nobody in this county has terrorized more ICE agents than those three right there. And we say it proudly. They take pictures of our license plates. They call us by first names. They go to our houses at 5 in the morning when we're leaving. And we're not stopping because at the end of the day, we got nothing to fucking hide. We'll take any federal charges they want to do. And those are just three of the many volunteers that we have across this county. The point is we're never going to stop, and we're going to keep coming after them consistently over and over and over again until they get out of our county. We're here to defend our people by all means. And I am incredibly proud and honored again to stand side by side, not only the incredible volunteers that we have on this team, but every single one of you that cares about what we're doing here today.
Another thing, I've been talking about the trafficked children for about 4 years now. This is part of the Board of Supervisors presentation as well. This clip is this NGO and DocuFund blatantly lie or be misrepresented by NGO attorneys on what a UAC is. A UAC is unaccompanied alien child. These children did not come through our border with an adult. They were trafficked here. And understand, the people at the Glass House Farm, Biden's migrants, owe the cartels up to $18,000. So we have human slavery in our country. So for the NGOs that are always talking about slavery and equity and racism, why do you guys want slavery in our country? Why are elected official Democrats demanding our cities and our counties fund these groups by millions of dollars? Who's going to keep track of this illegal money to support call centers to dox ICE? You know what? I think that USAID money's running out. Steve Bennett tried to talk to him. I walked up to him and I said, Steve Bennett, you could fix things by repealing or amending SB 54 so local law enforcement could work with ICE. And he looked at me and goes, I'm not talking to you about that. And I'm just completely blew me off. And understand, he could. What would that do? It would keep ICE going to the jails and picking up criminal migrants and not being out in the community. Although I want them in the community now that we know there's trafficked kids here. David Newman, mayor of Thousand Oaks. This guy, you guys, I believe is up for election. If you would consider running against this guy, if you're in his district, he needs to go. This man had the audacity, after I've looked into everything border for the last 4 years, and tell me I didn't know what I was talking about. He told me that Tara Rodas, HHS whistleblower, doesn't know what she's talking about. DHS whistleblower, Aaron Stevenson, doesn't know what he's talking about. And again, why are these Democrats pushing for these NGOs to get money? Think they've been laundering money here for a very long time. And let me tell you something. I'm going to do everything in my power to expose you. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure if you are breaking federal law by obstructing justice, by obstructing ICE, by doxing ICE, by harassing ICE and federal agencies, that you are prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. We are not going to back down, and the games are going to end. Biden had millions of people invade our country. An hour from here in Long Beach, they found a man, an ISIS fighter, that had a bomb. You guys saw my show with Jeff Rainforth. He found passports from the border from the country of Mauritania with a guy on the terrorist watch list who is somewhere in our country. People came from 107 countries from around the world. And the gotaways, we have no idea where they are. You guys, it's time for change. So everybody, buckle up. I've got a man coming in who's been on the Simi Valley City Council for a very long time, and he's going to be running for the mayor of Simi Valley. And you guys, we need your support because Simi Valley is one of the only red cities in Ventura County, and we need to keep this guy in office. The left is attacking him, so that should tell you everything you need to know. He's your guy. So everybody, stay tuned, and we'll be right back. You guys, I am so honored to have a new sponsor on Uncover California, General Michael Flynn. You guys, I need you to go buy his new books. The Role of the Church, The Citizen's Guide to Fifth Generation Warfare. And on the General Flynn store, you can find all sorts of great things to get you prepared to be equipped with truth and move forward. Fight, fight, fight. If you guys could support the show, use generalflynn.com/REF/Lori Mills, and you'll help uncover California while equipping yourself for the battle ahead. Local politics has national impact. Go General. Okay, guys, I have great news. The MAGA Mall has new merch. The new Trump collection is over the top. Look at my new hat. FAFO, you know what that means. So if you want one of these hats or one of the other great hats that they have for merchandise, go to themagamall.com and use promo code CALI, CALI, and get your FAFO hat, or you can get a Trump 2028 hat and trigger the left. It's a great time here at Uncover California. Welcome back, everybody. Our next guest is a friend of mine who I've known for a few years. He's a straight shooter, and he's been on the Simi Valley City Council for a very long time. After a great loss to the city, Mike Judge is now running for Simi Valley mayor. He's currently under attack from the left-wing activist groups, so that tells me he's the guy for me. Mike Judge, welcome to Uncover California.
Thank you, Lori. This is great. It's great to be here, and thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. So let everybody know a little bit about your history.
Sure.
You grew up in Simi Valley. You served this nation. What do you love about Simi Valley?
Well, yes, I did grow up. I was born and raised in Simi Valley. Well, I couldn't be born there because my mother went into labor. She worked in the valley. So I was born in the valley, went home to the Simi a couple days later. Lived in Simi Valley my whole life, graduated from Simi Valley High School. The only time I've ever left Simi Valley was for about 9 years when I joined the Army. I joined the Army, left the country, did my bit for the service, got out, stayed in the National Guard, got accepted under the Los Angeles Police Department in 1990, and got married in 93. And when we were expecting our first child, my wife and I decided to move back to Simi Valley because I said, if we're going to stay in Southern California, the best place to live is Simi Valley. So we did, and we were very pleased with our house we bought. We got an earthquake-damaged house, so it didn't cost us a whole lot of money. I used my VA loan, and that's where we've been living ever since. Raised 3 kids there. They all graduated from Simi High like their dad, and I think they're doing very well.
Yeah, and you do have a very beautiful family, I must say. Love your wife. Everybody's great. And I want to thank you for your service to this country. Even as a law enforcement officer, I have the highest respect for law enforcement, and we do need law and order in this country, which I think cities outside of Simi Valley don't seem to have what we have. We seem to live in this bubble, and maybe it's our leadership. Maybe it's the fact that we live in the shadow of the Reagan Library, but we're like a beacon of hope in Ventura County and even across LA. What makes Simi Valley so special to you?
I agree with you. I believe it is that too. And the Reagan Library does help promote that mystique. Simi is just a very tight-knit, family-orientated, police-friendly community that loves the police, loves being safe. We were named the safest city in a row, a couple of years in a row back in the 90s. But the funny thing about that is when they were doing those statistics back then, our statistics now on crime that happens in our city are actually lower than they were when we were the safest city. But there's other cities that the crime stats are a little lower, so we're not in the top 10 anymore, top 20.
Well, that could be because I think the state government lowered penalties where they don't report crime all the time either.
Well, this is true. The state has definitely made it easier for criminals to be criminals.
I'm going to get into this. Fred Thomas was a dear friend of yours. He was an incredible man, an incredible mayor, and he suddenly passed this year, and he was our mayor. Tell us about Fred and what had happened. Him being sick was a shock to me. I had no clue when I heard he passed, and he was really loved throughout our city.
Yes, he was. Fred was when you say pillar of the community, Fred's picture should be in the dictionary next to that. He was started out, from what I understand, he moved to Simi Valley in the early 90s, set up helping out with the Boys and Girls Club first. He was their chairman for a while, did a lot of good things for the Boys and Girls Club, got them up and running. He worked with his wife, Debbie, who also passed, God rest her soul. She started up the Seroptimus Club in Simi Valley. They were both integral to almost every nonprofit charity in our city, from the time that Fred gave money or Fred did printing for them. I mean, he was an amazing part of our community. And like you said, nobody can say a bad word about Fred.
Right. And to his family, we just still think of you and pray for you. And we all love Fred a lot. He was a great guy. You have some big shoes to fill. Yeah,
yes, I do. The good thing about our city is we've been blessed. Since I've been on the council, we've had 3 pretty good mayors, Bob Huber, Keith Mashburn, and Fred Thomas. Dee Dee Kavanaugh was appointed in January, and she's done a pretty good job as the mayor so far. I'm looking to keep going with Fred's legacy, just keep the city on track to be transparent, to be efficient, and to have accountability. The biggest thing with bureaucracies is sometimes people feel like they get lost in them.
Right.
I want to make sure you don't feel that way in Simi Valley. If you come to open a business, or if you're doing a project on your house or on your community, I don't want the city layering you in red tape. I have a saying that I use: one list. Because a lot of times when you have cities and you're doing something, they'll come out with a list and say, you need to do all this to get your permit certified. And then when you finish all that, they bring another list and say, now you want you to do this. No, we only want one list. Give them one list and let them finish it and get it done. We don't want to wait 6 months for things to get done. We don't want to look like the Palisades 8 months later. We want stuff to get done. My spiel so far is running for mayor. We're going to find a way, because right now our police officers aren't paid as much as they should be in our county. Our employees in our city aren't paid as much in our county. We're trying to find ways to fix that without raising taxes. So that's the big goal in the city right now, is to find a way to get more money flowing in. So I'm going to use your show to say to people, if you live in Simi Valley, please spend your money in Simi Valley.
Absolutely. Then there's some great restaurants in Simi Valley, and a lot of things that have opened up. We've got the new Cork and Barrel. While being on the city council, what would you say are your biggest accomplishments?
Well, I've got a couple I think I did pretty well on. One was the waste management contract we negotiated back in 2010, 2011, when they expanded their landfill. Waste management came to us with a lot of gifts. They donate a lot of money to our city for our nonprofits, which we actually used 3 years in a row to support the free clinic and get them going after they had issues with their first fundraising group. They had some problems there, because the free clinic's goal has always been to get into a center where they can be like under one roof, have all the major charities and stuff in one building. And we got that for them through the waste management money. Waste management also gave us a piece of land to use where we put our police training facility. It's a state-of-the-art range. They can do it for training, range work, all kinds of police activities, saving the city hundreds of thousands of dollars in overtime and fuel expense from having our cops drive to other training areas outside our city. That was one of my biggest goals, and the things that I thought I accomplished was getting that pushed through, because I thought that was very important. We just did something last night at our council meeting, which I think is also very important given the state of our state. We have Sacramento trying to determine how cities look, or how cities live. So you have people that live in San Francisco, because basically everybody needs to know that our state is run by Northern Californians.
Yeah.
And they don't understand how people down here in the Southern California like to live. People in Simi Valley live in Simi Valley, kind of like why they live in Thousand Oaks, why they live in Camarillo, why they live in Moore Park, because they don't want to live in apartments. They don't want to be hemmed in by traffic. They don't want congestion. They want a small house, or a nice house, shouldn't say small, a nice house. And again, with the prices in California, I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's what people want. And we don't want to be congested. We don't want tens of thousands of apartments in our city. But the state of California says, no, you have to do it. Otherwise, we'll strip you of your way to zone the city, and we'll do it for you.
You're talking about SB 9.
SB 9, there's a couple other ones.
There's a couple, yeah. And with SB 9, I can tell you, when we moved to Simi, 10 years ago now, which is crazy to me, we wanted room for our animals. We didn't want to be on top of our neighbors. And let's face it, we don't have the infrastructure.
No.
for a bunch of high density apartments. And if you ask me, the only reason the state's doing it is politics. They know that if they could put low income housing into our community, they're going to get more D voters. And they're working very, very hard to flip our red city.
I'm sure that is definitely part of their plan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that come out of Sacramento that make me just scratch my head. I serve on a lot of regional boards and county boards, and the stuff I hear coming out of Sacramento sometimes, it's just nuts.
Our Assemblywoman today, or actually earlier in the week, just passed Assembly Bill 495, which Pastor Rob and a lot of people, Jack Hibbs, are up in Sacramento today to try to stop, called the Child Trafficking Bill, where any adult can go online, and it doesn't specify whether it's a migrant or whatever, and fill out a form and take custody of your child. Go into the school and say, I'm taking custody of the child. They don't have to call the parent. They don't have to call anybody. And I just feel like we're living in crazy town with these people in Sacramento.
I'm not familiar with that bill, but that does sound
It's scary.
very scary.
Look into it. Yeah, Pastor Rob, everybody's there today to try to fight it. Jackie Irwin voted for it, but Jackie's terming out. Let's just hope that we can get someone with common sense.
Yes, please.
Once again, Gavin Newsom is trying to redistrict us. I hear the latest plan is to take Simi Valley out of CD 26, which would put us in the valley.
Yes. I think the district we're going into under this plan, if it passes, and the voters have to pass this, well, it has to pass by 2/3 in the legislature, and then it has to go to the voters in November of this year,
Right.
Special election. How much money does that cost the state? No,
Millions.
anyways. So special election in November, and the citizens have to pass it on a 50.1, so
Right.
it's not hard for them to pass it. Hopefully, I am just hopeful that with this, the clown show we've lived through since January in this state, with the fires, with the empty reservoirs, with the lack of people doing their jobs in politics, that they won't be able to pass it. But
Yeah.
I'm always the cautious optimist when I come to California.
Well, and I just put my faith in God. But even for me, you know, when I ran for the state assembly, and I thank you for your support when I did, I ran on fire danger because we had just had the Woolsey fire.
Yes.
I asked the question, why aren't we doing controlled burns anymore? Why is the water not coming south because of the Delta smelt? And the fact that our reservoirs weren't even full, and now us, Simi Valley, we're taking the aftermath of the fire damage at our landfills.
Yes.
And so tell me, a lot of people have talked about that, and I wasn't even going to talk about that, but since we are,
Sure.
a lot of people were concerned about the air quality from the fire debris coming to Simi Valley. And I'm sure that you guys looked into it to make sure it was safe. Can you explain to everybody what happened there, and is it safe?
Yes, I can explain it. And I do believe it is safe. The way it is done, I've been on both points. I've been where they pick it up, I've watched them put it in the trucks, and I've watched them dump it in our landfill. The way it works is when they picked up the fire debris, yes, there's going to be some trace asbestos in there, depending on when the house was built that they're picking up from.
Lead,
Yes.
yeah.
That's all going to be in there, but that's also in our regular garbage. So
Right.
we never said that the waste wasn't going, and Waste Management never said the waste wasn't going to be toxic. It's going to be waste, but it's not going to have a toxicity level that is not allowed to go into our landfill. And that is regulated by the state of California. So the state of California, with all its environmental oversights on landfills, agreed and said, yes, we will allow it. The county allowed it because our landfill is technically in the county. It's not our landfill. It's just adjacent to Simi Valley. So we get the biggest impact from it. But the way they wrapped it, the way they wetted it down, kept it soaked all the way through the ride, and they put it, when it gets there, it gets wetted down again, it gets put into a hole.
So it doesn't go airborne.
Nothing is supposed to get airborne. It's all wrapped. They called it, it's a wrapping system they use. They wrap the garbage in a bunch of different kind of propylene tarps and everything. So it is sealed when it gets to the landfill. And again, it's soaked again. And then it's put into the hole, soaked again, and then buried quickly. Nothing stays out overnight. Nothing is allowed to dry. Nothing. And we haven't had really any wind events since January, if you think about
Yet.
it. We haven't had any. Yeah, we're going to. I know we will. We always do, but we haven't had any yet. So, in my opinion, and the way it was explained to me by the experts, including the Army Corps of Engineers, the toxins that are in the stuff they're putting in there is the toxins that are allowed to go into our landfill, does not exceed the specificity of those certain things that can't go in our landfill. And plus, it is controlled to where it doesn't have a possibility to get airborne.
Right.
Could there be an accident? Could a truck flip over on the freeway and spill? Yeah, but it's going to spill a bunch of wet crap on the freeway. And hopefully, they'll clean it up before it dries. I mean,
because that's how it goes airborne, is if it dries and
Right.
particles fly up into the air. So in Simi Valley, we have a small cabal of people, and I'm just going to bring it up, that I have watched attack you. And I know that you don't get into that sort of stuff and you pretty much ignore them. However, these people are causing a lot of chaos in our community. They're consistently having a different outrage, and they're accusing you, and I've known you a while, you're not a racist, accusing Simi Valley and accusing you and council members of being racist because they don't get their way. Do you want to answer to their accusations?
Well, I'd like to, yes, sure, thank you very much. I want to talk about the very horrific incident that happened a couple weeks ago in our city.
Yeah.
Where we had some young white juveniles.
Punks.
They are, and I hate to say it this way, but they're punks. That's what they are. I mean, I can't say it anything. They used derogatory, racist speech when they were attacking a lone, from what I saw on the videos I saw, the guy was by himself, young black man, and I believe the black man was the only adult involved. Everybody else was a juvenile. Yeah, it was horrific. They used words they shouldn't have used. Is it a hate crime? I don't know. I don't know how those kids are. I've never met any of them. I don't know their names. Only the kids that know them could say whether they're racist or not. But they did use words that racially charged, unacceptable language to use. And our city is hell-bent to make sure that they're prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
And understand, our police chief is a black man.
Yes, he is.
And he's a fabulous police chief.
He is. He's done a great job. And he's turned the department around on a bunch of issues, and he's done a great job in our department. But this issue specifically has brought out some people, and I understand their anger. I do.
Right.
But when they directed at us, to me, okay, we're going to do everything we possibly can to get these kids prosecuted. Again,
Right.
We're talking juveniles.
Right.
In California, especially in the last 5 years, as we spoke of before, Gavin Newsom and the legislature have dumbed down our criminal penalties so far that I don't see anything coming from this other than maybe a fine or
Right.
community service for these juveniles. Police officers today can't even talk to a juvenile once they arrest him without a lawyer present, period. There's no more this, call the parents, have the parents tell the kid that you're sorry or whatever. No, you got to have a lawyer. That is part of the juvenile justice system that California has right now. So their hands are tied. A lot of people come to the council meeting saying, they want justice immediately. They want this. It's not going to happen because
That's not the way the law works.
no, it is not. What's going to happen is these juveniles were cited and released because that is the procedure for juveniles. Unless it's like a murder, that is the procedure for juveniles. They are hardly ever kept in custody anymore. So they get cited and released. The police know who they are. They know where they live. They're not a flight risk. They will be held to answer by the district attorney. The district attorney will determine what level of crime what they did mounts to. In my opinion, what it looked like was an aggravated battery. So it's a low-grade felony, high-grade misdemeanor. With the hate speech, or if the words they use, that is up to the district attorney to say whether that's a hate crime or not. But there's
Right.
a lot of hoops to jump through to make something a hate crime.
Right.
Just using the
You
language.
got to have a history.
There is. There's the history. Just using the language doesn't always make something jump up to a hate crime. And the people that came and screamed at our city council meetings, some were genuinely concerned, some were just yelling.
Another day, another outrage. They're the same people that wanted to defund the police, if I remember correctly.
Yes, they were.
And I said that at a city council. They just go from outrage to outrage to outrage. I think a lot of it's politically driven because they want to smear in order to take power themselves for their elected officials that they support. And I can say for the family of the man and for the man that was assaulted, we stand with you. We want justice for you. We all do. But another thing, you're a city council member. It isn't your job to prosecute crime.
No.
And you have to let the process play out. So why do you think that these activists think that you have power to control what law enforcement does?
Well, their biggest mantra right now is that they're assuming that our police department is involved in this somehow because one of the children or one of the juveniles that was part of this thug gang was the son of a police officer in our city.
Okay.
They believe because of that, our police department is not going to do its due diligence and conduct this investigation thoroughly, which is a lie. It's not going to be that way.
Right. Well, actually, he might be more harshly judged.
I believe so. That's always the way it is. When a cop
Yeah.
gets accused of a crime, people think it gets swept under the rug. Yeah, that does happen. It probably happened a lot more in the past. But nowadays, cops are held to a much higher standard when stuff gets when you do something stupid.
Everything's on camera.
Yes. And this is not going to be swept under the rug. Once the police are done with their investigation, they will turn it over to the DA, and the DA will file it the way he files it. But again, I have to let everybody know that's watching that these are juveniles we're dealing with.
Right.
You're never going to know their names. You're never going to know what happened to them because they're not allowed to release that information.
Right.
And when they turn 18, their records will be scrubbed.
We won't get into this, but I know that I've been doing a lot of research, and a lot of people, this isn't the family and friends of the man that was assaulted. I'm talking about the regular people showing up at the city council meetings and demanding money and demanding political things, and now this is their latest outrage. I don't believe that they care as much as they claim to, and I can also say these are the same kids that and adults that are going around breaking federal law right now, doxing and following ICE around, and you guys better be real careful with that. I would hate to see any of you prosecuted. Be smart, follow the law. That's all we ask of anybody.
That was the mantra for the last 4 years, wasn't it? No one is above the law.
Right.
That's the way it is. Nobody's above the law. If you're violating the law, no matter what the law is, you need to be held accountable for that action.
Right.
And that is what the federal government is doing now. They're basically making up for lost time in the last 4 years when nothing was done about so many things. So now it looks like they're running around, with their hair on fire trying to fix things, which they are because
they need to. Yeah. I mean, I've reported on the border for 4 years. I've interviewed Oscar Blue from the Darien Gap. They talk about climate change. They've destroyed one of the most pristine jungles in the world. There's decomposing migrant bodies. People were raped, killed, handed off to cartels, funneled to our border. Biden's migrants owe up to $18,000 to the cartels. So you're basically supporting the cartels. And the thing that gets me the most is they lost 350,000 children in our country.
That is just
and
tragic.
For those of you that could be there Friday, I don't know if you're going, Tara Rodas, who I've interviewed, and Aaron Stevenson, the HHS whistleblower and the DHS whistleblower, will be coming here to Oxnard with General Flynn. So if you guys can make it out to that, come, because you want to hear the truth. Let's get back to the city, because that's what we're here for. What are your biggest goals with the city?
My biggest goals for the city are just basically to keep it going on a steady track, because like I explained, we need to find more ways to make money in our city. We have a lot of plans. We have the town center as a partner right now, and we're looking for the town center, some things to go up there that'll boost that into a destination location.
Yes. I've always wanted to see it become like an outlet mall or something.
Well, I don't know so much about retail. Retail is tough right now. It's tough everywhere.
Although if you go down to, and I just was there last night for my grandson's birthday, and I don't know if they can redesign it. The collection down in Oxnard's doing fabulous.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. I've been
driven
by it.
Yeah, the way that they've done that, they've got comedy clubs, they've got all sorts of entertainment and restaurants and retail. But I would love to see that here. And we're so close to the valley. And let's face it, the malls over there are horrible. And it's such a great location. It's easier to get to than the Thousand Oaks Mall because you don't have to deal with the 101.
Right. No, I'm looking forward to that kind of thing at our mall too. More restaurants, more nightlife, nightclubs, that type of thing. We're losing, one of our long time bars in our city. We don't have many bars in Simi Valley, but we're losing one of them. She's, from what I understand, that PCs will be closing at the end of the month. I just heard that the other day. Very sad to hear that because it's a spot you can go if you're an adult. The problem with Simi is there's not a whole lot of stuff for the young people to do either.
Right.
We do have the laser tag place, and we have the Parks and Rec District, which does a great job with school activities for children or after school activities for children. But we need more. I'm just trying to figure out how the city can be involved in that to do that. And I look at the mall as being a perfect place for that if we can get more stuff up there for kids to do. Young people now, they're playing games at home, whereas I used to, you might go to an arcade or something like that, but they don't do that anymore. So
we were always out as kids.
Yeah, I don't even know what to possibly do. We do have a great youth council in Simi Valley, and hopefully, they can answer some of those questions for me.
Yeah.
Rest of the part of the city is just, I got to find a way to maintain our police force with the funding we have right now and try to, boost our recruitment and boost the money so that we can give all of our employees, not just the police, all of our employees a fair shake at living in this state because of the expense it's gone up to since it's been run by the administrations we've had since 2010.
Yes.
I mean, 2010 was the year this whole state started to tip. They took the redevelopment away from cities, and cities lost a whole bunch of money to do stuff like, refurbish malls, refurbish strip centers, stuff like that. One of the people at the council meeting last night made a comment about all the businesses are leaving Simi Valley. Well, all the businesses are leaving the state of California.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not leaving Simi. They're
Right.
not going to Thousand Oaks. They're leaving the state.
Yeah, because they can't afford to do business here.
Right. And the thing I hear from parents all the time is my kids can't afford to live here. And I'm like, I understand. I know.
That's a huge problem. And I even think about my kids, and they're here, thank God. You used to be able to buy a house at 30.
Yeah.
25 even. A lot of these kids in California, it's almost impossible. And we do need interest rates to come down. But as you were talking about earlier, we need to slash some of these state regulations.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, instead of infilling all these cities, we got some hills. Release some state land and let's build some nice neighborhoods. But we do need to work on infrastructure in that state too.
Yeah, so I'm always amazed how the state keeps pushing for the infill and stuff like that, but not allowing more water to come down south.
Yeah, or getting rid of the bottlenecked roads.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many regulations that make it hard for builders in our state. They did do something with CEQA, the California Environmental Quality Act.
Which should end, in my opinion.
They did do some stuff to it to make it a little bit easier for developers to build, which is good. I'm glad they did that. I'm sure they did it kicking and screaming, but it needs to be done. The Coastal Commission needs to be revamped. The AQMD needs to be
wipe them out. Bye-bye.
Which is a good reason to vote for a conservative for governor. That's just the most important
and the
thing.
Assembly and Senate. Because we could get the best governor in the world, and if the Assembly and Senate are all Democrat supermajority, it would be like having Trump in office in the Democrat House and Senate.
True,
So,
but the governor does have certain powers, especially when it comes to Coastal Commission, the AQMD. That's the governor's appointees.
okay.
And if we have a good, conservative, common sense governor, we can change those boards, and that can do a lot of stuff for development in our state.
Is there anybody you like for governor?
Right now, I like Steve Hilton a lot, but I also heard from another gentleman. He came and spoke at one of our meetings. I can't remember his name though, but he also had great points.
Marine?
Yes,
Dave Serpa.
that was him.
I adore Dave Serpa.
He had
I
great
just
points.
don't know if he can. I actually think he's better than all of them. It's such a tough race.
I would be on Chad Bianco's side, except for he did some stuff during the Black Lives Matter and the defund the police movement that I just don't agree with.
Yeah, and not to mention what he did to Vem Miller, which is a whole different story. Well, we are out of time.
Oh.
Is there any message that you want to give to voters, to the community? And is there anywhere they can find you on social media? And how can they support your campaign?
Well, I will be putting my website up in a couple of months here. We're not really kicking off the campaign until end of October. We're going to have a booth at the street fair. I don't want to give voters, I don't want this political fatigue because this is going to be a long campaign, especially with the new governor trying to get in and stuff. So the good thing is that we have termed out Democrats in seats I believe we can win. So I would just tell people that are watching, please vote for common sense conservatism in our state so we can bring back some sanity to the Golden State and make this a place where your kids can stay.
Absolutely. And so are you on social media? Is there anywhere someone can follow you?
I have a Facebook page, but it's only for friends, and I do have a city council page. People can follow me there. And when I get the website up and running, I will change there is a Mike Judge City Council page, and I will change that to Mike Judge for Mayor. So I'll have all that up, and I'll give you all the dates and stuff when that's finished.
Okay. All right, everybody, support Mike Judge. We need common sense in Simi Valley, and we can never let it go. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. That is our show for this week. Please support our show. We can't do this without you. Buy a MAGA hat. Do whatever you need to do. But make sure to tune in next week. We got some great guests. And stay safe, stay strong, speak out, get involved. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this video, remember to follow me on X at Lori Mills, 4CA42, Uncover Cali on Rumble, and Uncover California on YouTube.